Speech off.
And you let me know when you wish to speak. I will then have him unmute you. When you speak, also please state your name and address. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Osowski.
Present.
Commissioner Whaley.
Present.
Commissioner Cheney.
Present.
Commissioner Sharp.
Present.
Mayor Becker.
Present. By statute, this is a standalone public hearing, so I'll now open the public hearing for the Nebraska City budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026, which will commence on the 1st of October. 1st of October this year. Sherry?
Okay. Don't know exactly how much you want me to cover. Do we want to go into the slideshow now? We prepared kind of a brief summary of the upcoming fiscal year budget. So I'll go through those, and again, we've met several times, and it was a very challenging budget to put together. So before I get started, I just want to thank the mayor, council, staff, the department heads that have been involved in this since probably as soon as April. So it was again very kind of difficult process, but ultimately.
Sorry, I'm moving back to the slideshow here. I'm just sharing it with our Zoom attendees.
Okay. So just briefly, we'll go through just some of the highlights of what where we're at and how we got here. So first slide, the 25-26 property tax request, which seems to be probably the biggest change. The general fund this year will be $1,766,633.15, and for the bond fund, $900,000. The total assessed value of property differs from last year's total assessed value by 7.38%. The tax rate, which would levy the same amount of property taxes as last year, when multiplied by the new total assessed value of property, would be 34 cents per $100 of assessed value. The City of Nebraska City proposes to adopt a property tax request that will cause its tax rate to be 47 cents per $100 of assessed value. Based on the proposed property tax request and changes in other revenue, the total operating budget of the City of Nebraska City will decrease last year's budget by 10.94%. The tax to home calculator, so we've got a snapshot of 4 years and how we budgeted property tax. So back in 22-23, you'll see our valuation there, and then for what we asked for general purpose in property tax was the 1.237 number. How that breaks out is the bond is 672,000 of that, for a total of 1.909,910. The next 2 years we kept flat, so the valuation changed but our total ask was 1.938. For general purpose, the property tax ask was $1,328,700, and we carried that for 2 years, from fiscal year 23-24 into fiscal year 24-25. This year, with the changes and the ask, the general purpose is 1.766 million. Bond again at 900,000 for a total of 2.666 million. Basically, what that does is puts us back at the fiscal year 22-23 rate after freezing it the last couple of years. So again, the general purpose, it's 32 cents per $100 valuation of the bond, is 16 cents per $100 evaluation, for a total of 48 cents per $100 evaluation. The revenues by department. Cut off the comments on there. So, the fiscal year 25-26 budgeted revenues has decreased by 1.626 million. Some of that was the carryover funds that were set aside for capital purchases for fire truck and ambulance. So that's part of the reason for some of the decreased revenue. As well as, the previous couple of years, we've used some for bond construction projects. Revenue by type, yeah, I apologize, some of the comments were off the bottom of this one, or the last one, that's okay. So the revenue by type, the biggest one to point out here is, as we mentioned in previous meetings and throughout our budget discussions, again, the property tax is going up, but our sales tax revenues have gone, leveled out. Past 2 years, we had asked for 2.6 million. We're keeping it at the 2.6. Projected revenues, we'll get into that in the next slide, are at or a little bit below that for this fiscal year. So, I guess just based on what we're seeing currently, we decided not to increase the sales tax. It's hard to project where that's gonna go in the next year. We're hoping that it doesn't continue to dip. I think we saw 8 of 12 months of revenue collection down from the previous years. This chart basically shows the sales tax revenues since 2019 to current, and our year-end estimates are right below that 2.6. Right now, the year-end estimate is 2,580,601. So just right below that 2.6 projected. I think we still have a month left to collect, so hopefully we'll hit it. But right now, the projection is just below. Currently, we've received, the year-end estimate is at 2.58, but currently we've received $2,362,981. The state aid chart, one thing to point out in our state aid, where we've taken a hit over the past several years, is our municipal equalization funds. They decreased 132,883 years from the prior year, and over 4 years, nearly $500,000. Expenditures. So the expenditures this year have been decreased $879,476.73 from this current fiscal year, from this year to the next. We saw cuts in almost every aspect of city government. We took some overtime projections away, asking, staff to watch overtime hours. The hope is that we retain staff and we don't run into those problems. We ran into a lot of issues with lower numbers in certain departments, but we lowered some of the overtime numbers, and just overall line item by line item goes. Some difficult decisions that were made, but to the credit of the staff and the department heads, they've done a great job in maintaining the budgets. And I really don't see that changing. I think they know what they're tasked to do, and I think they'll be able to do it. But it's just something we're gonna have to keep an eye on throughout the year, once a month, and do everything we can to make these budgets work. Salaries and benefits. These are some of the items that we've seen increases over for the past several years. Some of the factors have been minimum wage increase. We did a 3-year progressive increase, and that was a huge deal, especially with our seasonal staff. We had a 3-year wage study, and we're at year 3 of both of these, of the wage study and minimum wage increase. We also, as part of this, you have to think of, you know, the benefit as well with health insurance. This year wasn't as bad. Previous years we've taken some pretty good hits, but fortunately this year health insurance was only a 5% increase. But we continue to see you know, wage increases to stay competitive, especially police, fire, ambulance, because we just lose people if we don't. But again, I think the city's done a great job in staying competitive with wages. Okay, that's again kind of a general overview. I know staff especially and council's heard a lot of this time and time again, but I would open it up to any questions you may have.
Is there anybody present that would like to speak in favor of this budget? Is there anybody present who wants to speak in opposition? Is there anybody present who would like to speak in general? Hearing, this time I move that we close the public hearing for the Nebraska City budget for fiscal year 2025-26. Motion, second, further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen? Yes. Commissioner Sussman?
Yes.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.